Kirk's assassination. And then there's the late-night TV host Jimmy Kimmel, back on television later this evening. He's hosting his show for the first time since being suspended by ABC over comments that he made after Kirk's killing. ABC saying it made the decision after thoughtful conversations with Kimmel. But he won't be seen on television stations owned by Sinclair or Nexstar. Nexstar, as you might know, owns NewsNation. ABC affiliates owned by both companies had planned to preempt Kimmel's show before ABC pulled it and still plan to do so tonight. The Federal Communications Commission Chairman Brendan Carr reacting to the story's latest developments today, posting the following, saying in part, quote, "We need to keep empowering local TV stations to serve their communities of license." With me now, Erin Maguire, strategist at Axiom Strategies, and Dan Cannonen, former Battleground States Director for the Biden-Harris campaigns. Hello to you both. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you.
Two obviously different stories, but let's start with Kimmel. What do you expect him to say tonight, and what do you want him to say tonight?
What I expect is something at the top that's probably a bit of legalese to clean up a little bit of what he did say, because this wasn't a joke that Jimmy Kimmel made. He said that the person who assassinated Charlie Kirk was a MAGA person. That is a false statement. That needs to be cleaned up by the network because they're leaving themselves open to liability. Two, what I would love for Jimmy Kimmel to say is, I'm sorry. I messed up. This was not the right thing to say. And because of that, I'm going to change my tone. However, if we have learned anything through Jimmy Kimmel's illustrious career, including his blackface days on The Man Show, he is not one to change his tunes, change his stripes, or apologize.
Do you think you get the "I'm sorry"? What do you think you'll hear from him? What do you want him to say from your vantage point?
I think the first comment, was done a little flippantly. And I don't think he was saying exactly that, Aaron. He wasn't saying he was a MAGA person. He was making the point that there were those on the right trying to paint him as something else or whatever they were painting him as to score political points. It was not artfully delivered. And so I do think cleanup is probably required on that point. Whatever he meant to say or wants to articulate now.
He said it was a MAGA person.
No, that's not what he said.
It is.
But what he should do at the top is, I think, clean up how he wants to clean that up. And I think less for legal purposes, and I think to have a moment here to talk about where we are in this country. I think rather than be flippant and sort of do it as a joke as he did before, a half joke, is to take a moment to actually talk to the American people about what this moment is like for free speech, what it's like to be respectful of people. And I would, if I were him, I would choose to lead with Kirk as the man, as the husband, as the father, and make that really, really clear. And then if you want to have a nuanced point about political beliefs and rhetoric, you can, but start with that.
All right. Other side, Turning Point USA, Erica Kirk says the campus tours will continue. They are continuing. We saw one last night, Erin. There are more in the coming days and weeks. What do you think we see from Turning Point USA going forward now that what Charlie Kirk was doing continues?
Yeah, I think you're going to see a growing Turning Point USA. You've seen a lot of applications for new chapters. I think you'll see increased tours and increased activism. And the thing about Turning Point is what a juggernaut they will become in the youth conservative movement, because they already were. They're training activists. They're engaging them. They're deploying them to help make a difference in these swing states. If we're talking about a Minnesota college campus right now where you have active conservatives and they're continuing to grow and feel that their voice is heard, this could change not only the trajectory of elections, of the future of the Republican and conservative movement, but maybe even of what they're hearing on college campuses, because they have become such liberal bastions.
You think elections in 2026?
They could, absolutely. It doesn't take much to recruit and train a volunteer. We are talking right now. They could be making actions right now to affect 2025. You have gubernatorial races in New Jersey and Virginia, other places across the country. You can get these people trained and on the doors today to make a difference.
All right. So you ran the battleground states for Biden and Harris.